The magic machine has told me that I'm live. You might be looking at my glasses and saying, when did CW get glasses? I got glasses like well over many, many moons ago. I just never wear them. I've had glasses for years. I got this poor man's singing bowl out, and the one thing I always forget about it is that it makes my it resonates when I speak. We'll get to 9/11 when we get to 9/11. It's September 4th. Here, not that this day hasn't been marked by tragedy. We say hello to Mario Heat in the live chat. We say hello to Kalendal in the live chat. And it's already looking like I'm headed for disaster. Looks like something Mia Khalifa would wear. Listen. Right? It's the update glasses. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Mario Heat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The upgrade glasses. What do we call these? The off the rails. All right. Charles Williamson says hello. Who is that girl? Who is that girl that sang that song? You know what I mean? Stay. It was off of that soundtrack. You say I only hear what I want to. Yeah. Bucky. You know what I mean? With the exception of Charles Williamson. You know what I mean? Just read the lines. Give me the money, you filthy cocksucker. Right? Seriously. Who's going to show up next? Brandon? Honestly. Jonaside. You know what I mean? I can't even, you know what I mean? I can't even call it correctly. Pretty sure that's Jewel. No, it actually wasn't Jewel. Jewel didn't need glasses. That's the one thing I don't think Jewel got correct, right? It's not now I'm sounding like a son of a bitch. Folks, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to convince you of anything. Amy Collins, did you bring your glasses? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't need glasses to look cool, but I will be like it's going to be one of those shows where Katie Lang, Bucky. You know what, Bucky? I'm banning you on this channel too. No, I'm kidding. Meanwhile, I just want to say, Bucky, and let you know what I mean. When you troll out, Bucky, I just want to let you know that I gotta go figure. I gotta go think to myself. Wait, hold on. Did he do that on behalf of Mikey? But hold on, I thought I was cool with Mikey. I was under the impression that I was cool with Mikey, and then I gotta go wonder. Then Reemsy gets implicated. You know what I mean? You don't think. Maybe you do think. You don't give a damn. Or maybe you're thinking, what did I do? I thought I was around here. Why are you taking it so hard? Meanwhile, the problem with some other guy is that after 10 years of knowing a guy, give me a straight F answer. I think, with the internet C-Dub. Side note, not if he's not off Rumble. If he's on Rumble still, as of last time I spoke to him on Twitter, he's on Rumble pulling in 1,000 views on Rumble, right? That's my understanding. For as long as Rumble holds on. You know what I mean? Folks, check out my Patreon. Listen, the last Patreon vid I did yesterday, and it went out to all the people on Patreon, not just paid members. If you sign up for my Patreon, you're neutral like Switzerland. You're neutral like Switzerland. Excuse me, Bucky, with all due respect. You're neutral like Switzerland, right? Okay? If you're talking about Switzerland, the coked up switch hitting, party favor dealer that used to hang out at the tunnel back in 1997, who, if your girl bought some messed up stuff that sent her to the hospital, told you, "What do you want from me?" A lot of people got messed up that night. I'm neutral. I'm Switzerland. What do you want from me? Everybody wants stuff. Everybody comes to Switzerland for stuff. And then everyone cries when people get, "What do you want from Switzerland?" I want you to think about what you're sending out there, Switz. Man. You know? You're Switzerland? Okay, in land where you're Switzerland, I'm Donald Trump saying, "But did you pay your bills to NATO? Because if you didn't pay and then you get some bad shit and you tell me you need me to take you to the hospital, I'm going to have to say, but did you pay your NATO bills? And if you didn't, well, but no one liked it when I said that, but then no one's going to pay. So, but you're welcome to the live chat because, yeah, right. Oh, and you're still a fucking moderator on this channel. I don't give a, right? As of now, as of this magic moment. But I swear to God, Bucky, if something goes south, I'll ban you on this effing channel, and I won't give a gosh darn, because here's the deal, right? Switzerland, I gotta tell you, baby. Right? It's like Natural Born Killers and that story with the Indian shaman, right? And the snake, right, or whatever. What do you want from me, lady? You unfroze me, you brought me in, and you unfroze me, and now I bit you, right? However you feel about it, Bucky, baby. There was a Bucky prior to the events of whatever. Now there's a Bucky post the events of whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? And I got a smile on my face, and I've got no, like I'm not jumping up to take out take off the moderators. Probably most likely after this, if it occurs to me, and I really don't give two shits, I'll probably forget about it. But I most likely will take off the reduce the moderator status at some point. But I probably won't ban you until you F up, which you probably inevitably will. Do you know what I mean? But it just puts like all sorts of shit in perspective, right? And we'll never ever meet in person and have it be that that the people that we were prior to whatever happened, those dudes will never meet in person, right? It unfortunately will never be that those two dudes ever meet in person. The dudes that meet in person will be post those dudes. Mario, hey, on another side note, I had a dream recently where I was watching your video, the best video I've ever done. Remember when you were like a cat and your eyes moved? Brought a lot of memories. Yo, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yo. And that vid was a tribute vid for Rock Shamoose, man, who we were just talking about. Yo, so circling back but it's a teachable moment, Bucky, because this actually, we see Rodrigo Vieira here too. We see Rodrigo Vieira here too. We see anyone I didn't say hi to. We say hi to, but it's a teachable moment in this sense. Just like DC Comics, just like Marvel Comics, just like General Hospital, just like professional wrestling. If the storylines have been going on for 25 plus years, right? If the sagas and the intricate interweaving of narrative threads have been going on for a long, long time, at a certain point, no one can catch you up with a synopsis at the beginning of the vid. If you're a new viewer and you get intrigued by the lore, it'll be incumbent upon you to do the archaeology and the digging. And if the videos are 3-4 hours and you only check out the first 15-20 minutes, or you dip in and dip out, don't for a minute think that you have an idea about what went down or what's going down or what's happening. And there is not one channel. Look in the description box below. And don't sleep on any vids, because vids get privatized. I do my best not to be, what do they say, a dirty deleter. But what are you going to do? And people come and go. And I reflect upon this all the time. And sometimes I think about it and I'll be like, yo, man, what happened? Why did that person dip out? Why did that person go? But you realize, hey, man, 2015, it was just 9 years ago at this point. That jive turkey nonsense. 9 years is 9 years, man. You know, you reach a point when you're the content creator and you're thinking, man, I'm sick and tired of this crap. Listen, we got people out here that I know for a fact, there are people that are dipping out of YouTube, right? They're just, and I'm not talking about content creators. I'm talking there are people that are like, yeah, I used to hang out, watch YouTube vids. And then there are people that are like, I don't watch as much YouTube as I used to anymore. Why? They're like, I got sick and tired of all that podcast and YouTube video watch, whatever, you know? But people talk about lost media. Folks, I've said it before. Now, some of my predictions, well, let me be completely honest and frank. I'm not keeping a scientific roll call, and the fact of the matter is that no one's keeping a real scientific roll call on my hits and misses, to the best of my knowledge. But when am I releasing the cookbook? One of these days, man. Get off my back, Charles. One of these days. Watch. I love the Rodrigo Vieira. The vids I miss watching the most are your philosophical rants, C-Dub. If you miss watching them, there's a cure for missing those missing watching certain vids. You rewatch them. And when I say subscribe to my other channels, I'm still philosophical. Pit Biscuit, Jill Sobio. Man, get off my case. No, I'm not even worried about it. Listen, September 4th, there's certain days see, here's the thing I got to do. I'm not going to try and sell anybody on anything. I'm just going to do what I do. And this is the Chrono-Magick Lab with CW Chanter, September 4th, 2024. And unfortunately, we have a tragedy today. There's been another school shooting, right? Damn. But there are certain days when we say hello to Catherine. Hey, Catherine, what's going on? There are certain days. I'm obsessed with chronology. I'm obsessed with nostalgia loops. I'm obsessed with repeating cycles. And I have this practice and this thing that I've been doing where Wikipedia is not the be all end all, but I go and I look at the Wikipedia entry for the day. I don't do it every day, but some days I go and I remind myself, hey, let me check out the Wikipedia for, like today, September 4th. And I notice some days it's a stretch. You go, well, of course, the historical events happen every day. So the Wikipedia, has an entry for every day of the year, September 4th, September 3rd, August 20th, July 1, and it's got all the things that happened on that day, from the first historical event that happened on that day, whether it's on, AD 10 or, whatever it was, to the present, the last historical thing that happened, whether it happened in 2022 or 2013 or whatever. It's got the births and the deaths. And you notice some days almost, there's always a fair amount of entries, but some days it's not a lot. And it's just a disparate grab bag of, look, it's everything's, every day in history, things are going on. But there's certain days that just, the minute you look and start going through, you notice that, dang, especially when you've done it as a reoccurring practice, days just will jump out at you, and you'll know that this day seems to distinguish itself. That there seems to be days where a lot seems to happen on particular days. Like Terence McKenna had this theory about about novelty, and you had this thing about time wave zero, and it's a completely debunked unscientific theory. But of course, everything that I'm talking about with you and my theories about Chrono-Magick are equally unscientific, debunkable, mystical, woo-woo nonsense theories. So I guess in keeping with that theme, his theory was that there's seemed to be these pockets of this novelty, would be reserved for these periods of time where you'd look across times of history where almost nothing would be happening. And then all of a sudden, bam, you'd see these massive explosions in technological development, massive explosions in evolutionary leaps across, species, and even in, geographical, tectonic plate movement, all this stuff. And of course, these are empirical observations. These are unscientific. So I'm just going to go through it like you've seen me do before, and these streams are meandering and they wander, and I'll go through the Wikipedia with entry with you. And again, oftentimes you'll see these entries, and then you'll go to the next page, and you'll see that they'll have one date over here, and then the date is different, and it doesn't work. And I'm not going to try and make any cases. I'm just going to wander through again. I've looked at some of this stuff, and I'll wander through with you. And again, I've kind of learned my lesson that it's not up to me to make the case for my nostalgia loop theories, or it's not up to me to make the case that September 4th is an important date. And look at all the things that happen. And look, there's reoccurring patterns, and you can see there's reoccurring patterns. We'll just kind of go through and be here together. Amongst these words that constitute data and information that human beings assign meaning to and constitute the exchange of information between human beings. And I will say that the way that they interweave and the way that they interweave with me, they make sense to me as part of, my life story. They're interesting to me because they're patterns, and I notice patterns, and they make sense to me because of patterns that make sense to me in my life. Chrono-Magick, magic is a personal endeavor. I don't know what this stuff means. On YouTube and on Facebook, there are people that come to you and say, I'm a magician, I'm a magic practitioner. And it seems to be the case that for many people, what they're doing is, like I said about making the case, it's like they come and they have a title. I'm a magician, I'm an occult practitioner, and they're introduced on the YouTube program or the podcast, and they've got a thing to sell, and it's like they're a product, and they've got a service to interest you in, and it's a sales pitch. And part of the sales pitch is to tell you that they're an expert, and they know something, and they do something, and they can do something, and they will do something. And if you listen to them, they can do something for you, or then they got a book to sell and all this shit. And then go, and there's going to be a place, an event where there's going to be booked, and you can go and see them live, and people will say, oh, I love this person, and they're going to be on a radio show, and you can go book, listen to them on the radio show again, and that they're part of a thing that you can recognize, like they're a Thelemite practitioner of astrotheology, something or other. My life would be easier if I fit into one of those molds, I surmise. But I don't. Walter Bosley is a person who I very much admire, though he admires people that I believe are walking, talking jokes. I don't know if he admires them. I don't know. He's got a thing that he's doing on October 13th. Here, let me start off with an interesting story, and then we'll dive in. I like Walter Bosley, and Walter Bosley is a saint as far as I'm concerned. Genocide says Chrono-Magick is real, and this is very important that we look at genocide. I'm not trying to start a fight with anybody. I'm not really trying to open up old wounds. Okay? So I'm not going to repeat certain stories that have already been known. If you know certain stories, you know certain stories. If you don't, you don't. Check out join my Patreon, because the latest Patreon, I'm going to be doing Patreon videos that you can see even if you don't pay the mere $1 a month it takes to be a paid Patreon. Okay? There's going to be paid. There are Patreon videos, at least 2 now, that you can see even if you don't pay $1 a month. There's a person that recently canceled their Patreon membership, even though they were not a paid Patreon. Damn, that hurt. I was like, you're paying nothing, and yet you canceled your Patreon membership. What did I do? To make you decide to stop giving me nothing. What the hell? We say hello to Cyrillic. Name in Cyrillic, I say hello. I greet you. Name in Cyrillic. Listen. Genocide's going to Nimzicon in October. October 13th, Nimzicon, where Dark Journalist will be. I won't be there. I wasn't invited to speak but Dark Journalist was. I don't know if Dark Journalist, some people may like certain people because of the perceived audience that those people draw. Terry Joyce, we say hello to Terry Joyce. Terry, I must shout out Jiggy, but I also say hello to you. Jiggy in heaven, peace be upon his name. Smoke King, Paranormal Hood. I know there's beef, but I say hello to Terry Joyce, but I'm neutral. Like Switzerland. But we love you too. I have no idea whatever happened. It's all whatever. But believe he is streaming and not live and never watched DG, Dark Journalist. Okay, so listen. Beantown Linguini. It was over Beantown Linguini that the original fight over my participation in a certain person documentary on a certain litigants focused documentary that the controversy occurred. I have no problem with Walter Bosley. But when the question arose, I hate somebody so much because of what they said about them being some sort of person who originated blah, 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 blah. And I know that Beantown Linguini's and someone else is a fan of that, blah, blah, blah. I can't be associated with anything that's associated with them. Is Beantown Linguini associated with your documentary? Because they're associated with this person, and this person has hurt my feelings so much, I can't be associated. So you got to tell me, remember, because someone has upset me so much, and I know Beantown Linguini is associated with that someone, you got to tell me if Beantown Linguini is associated with your documentary. That person said, don't worry, Beantown Linguini is not associated with my documentary at all. Not telling me that the person that I was upset with, because I had to know if Beantown Linguini was associated with the documentary because I feared that they were associated with someone who was really upsetting me was associated with the documentary. If you follow the bouncy ball, because I don't want to mention names and upset people in it. They thought that was kosher. Oh, you're upset that Beantown Linguini might be involved because Beantown Linguini is a fan of this person that you now are so upset with? Don't worry. I'm telling you, don't worry because Beantown Linguini is involved, but they left out the fact that that person was actually involved. They thought that was kosher. That's how big a scumbag. What do I have? What do I have? I need something that represents something. Oh, that's a death rattle. I have nothing. Killer Clowns. Well, Killer Clowns is Halloween adjacent. I'm thinking of something more spectral in nature. Um, um, ooh, what do I got? Geez. Well, forget about it. Charles Williamson. I still don't know who Beantown Linguini is. Better that way. Granted. But here we go. Because it's too bad that Jonas Sad's about to go to work. Because here's the thing. Now check this out. Now this is it. Now check. This is where it's going to get funny. Okay? Slightly funny. Was this the Mark Richards documentary or a different one? A different. Dude, Bucky? Hold on. Bucky? I Beantown's hot wife, girlfriend, whatever, Linguini. You know, I listen. Stop it. Here we go. I don't know who he is either. I'm late to the party. If you don't listen, it's a soap opera. Do not. You're like a child, Terry. You're like a child, Terry, who wanders in the middle of the proceedings and demands to know what's going on. We have Ken Speak with us tonight. Thank you so much, Ken Speak. Thank you for joining us. Amy Collins, the Mark Richards documentary is never coming out. The Mark Richards documentary, to the best of my knowledge, is never coming out. Okay? For what it's worth, we say hello to Sun Warrior. You want some inside baseball? To the best of my knowledge, the I you know my name recall has gone out the window. My he just that individual Kevin, is it Kevin, has retired entirely from the situation. He's retired. He's off of YouTube. He's gone to Normalsville. He's got Kevin Moore. To the best of my knowledge, the last I heard from an individual who I totally absolutely knew was connected to Kevin Moore was that Kevin Moore had packed up, left left this entire thing, had left his other thing with the telemarketing for tarot card readers, had left all of that. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the feedback that I had gotten from this person was, yeah, that they've gone to, they have a new fully vetted real world job in a regular industry, and that they have, left behind all aspirations to do anything in the field of YouTube, the paranormal, networking in the world of the paranormal, filmmaking in the world of paranormal. They have left it all behind. If that's true or not true, I do not know. And as far as the other documentary that, regarding the other individual, I believe that documentary will most likely not come out either, um, in any traditional way, because I believe that, background information, the most likely, there are, if you see that a lot of these kind of paranormal and, freaky deaky kind of documentaries do end up on these streaming services, you'll notice there's a certain commonality between the distribution networks, the producer, the promotional companies and the distribution companies behind those. And I can tell you absolutely that those companies are all very much aware of the names involved in the litigation, and the litigation around that I was recently dismissed from. These people are involved in the business of making money, not in the business of getting involved with known litigious people. If there is any thought that these companies are interested in spreading the vital information about UFOs and ufology truth to the people, and getting the real truth about JFK and what happened to JFK, to the audience on Amazon Prime, working all the networks possible to get the real vital information about, the Trump prophecy out there, then you're an idiot. These companies are in the business of sourcing ready-made bullshit material created by dum-dums on, Avid Pro on their fucking laptops, and throwing that shit onto Netflix, Amazon Prime, Tubi or whatever, to turn a quick profit and make as much money as they can. And the minute any product seems like it's going to be in any way, shape, or form problematic or linked to litigation, it's ixnay on the ombre. You'll notice there's not a lot of those things that are made about current UFO stuff or anything involving people that are alive, that are, in jail or under investigation or whatever. Though there are true crime documentaries, but those true crime documentaries are actually made by Netflix, right? And they got the participation of actual, people, you know what I mean? And those people are not going to be making documentaries about, some guy on YouTube. Those, unless that person on YouTube, you know what I mean, like, killed, a bajillion, believe you me, it is what it is. But we're 42 minutes in, and I haven't even gotten to one statement about September 4th. But maybe that makes sense. Yep. But this is Phil Blair. Oh, no. Yeah, the Bucky. Okay. Every once in a while, bad kids do good. Did you hear about the unsealed indictment from the Department of Justice that says a right-wing network was paid 10 million by Russia for disinfo? Tim Pool and others on the network. Yes, and the notion of this day being associated with powerful people coming down and of things like that happening makes sense. Look, let's get to September 4th. I don't need to do a share screen of Wikipedia. I'm just going to go through and start talking about things. Okay, and but and let's just do it to it. I'm going to kind of go through it quicker than I usually do. Some of the stuff that I talk about, actually, let me do the share screen, because again, and this is, I do this in the spirit of fair use. For what it's worth, I donate on a regular basis to Wikipedia, and I acknowledge that this is Wikipedia. Okay, for convenience sake, this is amateur hour me. This is not. I'm not doing this because I believe that I am, super genius of the millennium, that I am, he who makes the dots connect or anything like this. I am, you know, a human being who has my personal interest in these things. I see patterns. I find things interesting. When I call this the Chrono-Magick Lab, it's very much that. I don't know what any of this stuff means. But before I do this, let me say this. Back in between May and June of 2019, 5 years ago, me and Walter Bosley we didn't go together, but we met up along with other parties that are no longer associated with me or Walter Bosley, I presume. God damn it if I find out. No, I'm kidding. But there's a genocide connection there too. Listen to these connections. Genocide used to know my ex-girlfriend. He met my ex-girlfriend when they hung out at a conference at East City Ranch that I believe that CG was at. I think CG was maybe not there, but I know other people were there. But he definitely met her there, okay? So that's East City Ranch, right? Remember that Cliff High almost got arrested trying to go to East City Ranch. No, but wait. Check this out. At East City Ranch, at one point, my ex-girlfriend, nothing happened. That's what she said. I believe nothing happened. She shared a tent because there was no sleeping accommodations with that guy that used to be like a toady for CG at some point. That really smarmy guy that ended up like, what was he said, like his, like, oh, whatever, that the really really early toady guy for CG, whatever. Anyway, but check this out. At Contact in the Desert 2019, where me and Walter Bosley hung out, right? Whatchamacallit? We were there. Me and Walter Bosley were basically there, like three rows down from David Wilcock, when David Wilcock made his first announcement about the hover cars, right? And it was that 2019 Contact in the Desert that David Wilcock kept on freaking out because he kept on saying that there were terrorists that were going to try and blow up Contact in the Desert. Me and my ex-girlfriend were the terrorists, right? Anyone who remembers my ex-girlfriend, it was like the biggest like joke, because it was like, you're right, like she's gonna blow up Contact in the Desert, right? I'm like, You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to blow content. Why would I blow content? Why would I throw my life away? More so than I already had. But anyway, Walter Bosley was there with me. We were all hanging out, right? But now check this out. So now Jonaside is going to NimsaCon, right? That Walter Bosley is putting on. Where Dark Journalist is going to be. I thought he was going to be speaking live. Apparently, he's only going to be there by Memorex, right? So check this out. Also, the Emery guy. That's right, Mario Heat. Where I hung out with Emery Smith. Me and Emery Smith hung out because Emery Smith is originally from New Jersey. You should have seen me and Emery Smith. We were fucking around with everybody. Me and Emery Smith were there like, yo. We were doing like the pounds. We were like hanging out. We were like fucking on everyone. It was hysterical. Right? Yada. That was where whatchamacallit, the Holocaust denier guy and me were hanging out until I came back home and realized, did research on the guy. I was like, oh, actually, I can't talk to that guy because he's a Holocaust denier, which I absolutely 100% told everyone. The reason I can't hang out and talk to that guy, even though he made the shirt and was like, blah, 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 and he's talking to this guy and that guy, and the other thing is because he's a Holocaust denier. And whatchamacallit, the guy that ended up hanging out and talking to him on more than one occasion was, like online, of course, on YouTube, I'm not saying they hung out in real life, was, what's his face, the guy that is now like other guy who told me blah, 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 who always acts like, oh, this guy, says, I'm not going to say that guy's name ever again, blah, blah, and always acts like I'm just a YouTuber. We were friends. Everyone knows that me and what's his face me and Steven Coverband were fucking friends. I sent Steven Coverband a birthday present, right? And now Steven Coverband acts like this guy is just jealous of me. I'm not jealous of you. I'm pissed off at you that you weren't a freaking loyal friend. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is that everyone's fucking interconnected, right? Everyone's interconnected. And it's all fucking bullshit. And it's all fucking stupid. Anyway, what's not stupid is September 4th. So here, the point is this. I'm going to talk about everything being interconnected, and I'm going to talk about this. Here's the other thing. If you are a new member of the audience, like there's new members of the audience, yeah, right. Okay? And how is it this? Check out my live chat numbers. How is it that at the end of the day, my live chat numbers will basically be the same as a lot of other people's live chat numbers, or maybe be half of some, I don't know what other people's live chat numbers are, but I got 15 people in the live chat, right? There'll be other people that'll basically have the same kind of number of people in the live chat. Yet when I'm done, my views on my video will be like, I don't know, like 200, 300, whatever it is. But when they're done, even though they have the same number of people in the live chat, their views will always be like 2,000. And it's always the same number or something. I don't know. Charles Williamson, I follow the Orthodox calendar. Yo. One time Walter Bosley on my channel mentioned that Dr. Joseph P. Farrell, who I only call doctor because I'm being deferential to his naming conventions, like we want people to be respectful of certain people's pronouns, because in Western society, I don't know if you people are members of Western society. Is anyone here a member of Western society? If you're a member of Western society, you'll know that normatively we reserve the honorarium doctor, right, for medical doctors, right? I have a doctorate in jurisprudence. Do I call myself Dr. Zavodnik? What would you think of me if I went around calling myself Dr. Zavodnik? And if the answer is, we would think that you were being a fucking egotistical, hyper egomaniacal douchebag, you'd be right, okay? Yet I dare say you might think, if you knew what Dr. Joseph B. Farrell has a doctorate in, that you would think that I would have more grounds to call myself a doctor than he does, because his doctorate is in like the history of the church fathers, right? And if that sounds like a ridiculous thing to have a doctorate in and call yourself doctor, it's because we love Dr. No, he's a great, he's an old guy, right? Walter Bosley let it drop. Patristics. Patristics. Thank you, Amy Collins. Patristics. Right? In case you're curious why Amy Collins knows the term patristics, it's most likely only because she hangs out in this world where Dr. Joseph P. Farrell is a known character. Right? Did you research your doctoral thesis, CW Chanter? Nothing. I have a doctorate in jurisprudence. I'm a lawyer. We don't have to do that. I can't even remember what I wrote my thing in. I think it was we had to do something. We had to do right. It was something stupid. I don't like I took a class where I wrote a paper. It was actually in the history of it was in a religion a religion and law class. It was on Scientology. It was on Scientology in the courts. I have it somewhere. We still haven't gotten to September 4th. But where I'm leading with this is I keep on getting off the beaten track. Walter Bosley let it drop that Dr. Joseph P. Farrell is a bishop. And I was like, a bishop? And I'm like, I don't know if he was supposed to say that. Then I remember thinking to myself recently, and I'm not trying to start a fight with anybody. And remember, I love Walter Bosley. I texted him today like, yo, check out September 4th because there's even an airship. There is an airship. We've got Napoleon. We have Napoleon III, who, no offense, is the best Napoleon you've ever heard about. Never heard about. And we got an airship. Okay? Yo, check this shit out. Everyone's interconnected. We might have a soul family thing here. I might be obsessed with Walter Bosley. I don't know why. It's like Game of Thrones out here. I know that that's cringeworthy. But I have no idea. It doesn't matter. I'm not worried about people not respecting me. I believe that I will win in the end because much like Deadpool believed he was Marvel Jesus, and it turned out to be probably true. At least half of the equation, at least according to the new movie. The new movie rocks. Deadpool and Wolverine, go check this shit out. It really was a good movie. It really was a good movie. You're hanging out with you book Dark Journalist, and if you book Dark Journalist by video, but you don't book me, that's fine. You can do that. That's cool. But is it gonna put buns in the seats? Because that it is what it is. But I have no grievances with Walter Bosley. None. I will be vindicated. But the nature of esoteric pursuits is they do not make sense necessarily to everybody. I do not need to mention constantly that my favorite numbers are 4, 11, and 22, that these numbers are important to me. I just named them at the outset. Everyone has a purpose, a special purpose deep inside. Everyone has a job to do. 4, 11s, and 22s will be part of the patterning that I constantly point out. That is esoteric to you, the viewer, if you're not tuned in to my frequency. Why should you be tuned into my frequency? You will be tuned in to somebody's frequency. Let me lay something on you that is a thought. You are what you eat from your head down to your feet. There are many amongst you that spend a lot of time listening to CW Chanter. There are many amongst you who could spend more time listening to CW Chanter. When you listen to CW Chanter, and there are other people that are listening to CW Chanter, you're having a collective experience that is unique onto a small group of people, creating a small node, a small collective node. There may be aspects of what I talk about that may not make sense to you. There may be aspects of what I talk about that are just, it's boring to you because it's not really what you're interested in. Make yourself do the homework. You don't like TTRPGs, tabletop role playing games? Make yourself listen to my tabletop role playing game content. Why? Because other people that also listen to CW Chanter stuff do as well. Encode my encoding. Get with me. I am a benign kind of what used to be known as I'm not a cult leader. I'm not a cult leader. Read the CW Chanter materials. Listen to that stuff. I have de-weaponized myself as a person that is doing the thing that classically certain people in human society do. It's all theoretical. It might not be anything, but it might be everything. We might be heading to somewhere, or we might be heading to nowhere. It is not going to hurt you if it's not hurting you. You're going to spend your time listening to someone. It might as well be me. And if you think I'm doing something wrong, you can tell me, and I might very well change. Listen as I speak about September 4th. And in speaking about September 4th, more encoding will occur. Trust. The new player's handbook for D&D came out yesterday. Terry Joyce gets it. Terry Joyce has made videos. Terry Joyce made a video about watching me as the apartment complex nearly burned, which makes perfect sense and is synchronistic with what we're going to talk about today. Trust me. There's a lot. We also see Jesus J. Jesus J knows you can criticize me. I may not like it, but I'll take it on the chin. We begin at the beginning. 476. This is September 4th. Romulus Augustulus is deposed when this guy, proclaims himself king of Italy, thus ending the Western Roman Empire. Pay attention to this, because here's one of the themes. The days stick out. Certain days stick out. Certain days are a grab bag of all sorts of different things happen. But September 4th, certain themes are going to come forth. Things burning, but also changes, radical changes in historical periods and ends of paradigms, ends in leadership paradigms. Let's start with Romulus Augustus. I'm going to do this. We're going to stay on the September 4th screen, but I'm going to switch over to Romulus Augustus myself. He was a child. His father was a minister who couldn't serve, so he made his son the emperor. This guy, Odisar, was a barbarian. Okay, he deposed this child, Caesar, and took over, naming himself the King of Italy. Okay, and he worked along with this other guy, this Eastern Roman emperor called Zeno. This Ottokar guy. I'm just gonna call him Ottokar because I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. This act of this Odisar named himself the first king of Italy is kind of known as the end of the antiquity and the beginning of medieval times. This Ottokar was a barbarian, but he was a Christian. He was a particular type of Christian known as what was he? And it's called let me get this guy. Sorry, I apologize. I'm not gonna try and do this too much. I'm gonna try and keep these jumping arounds to a minimum. So this was the first thing we noticed about September 4th is on September 4th, the first thing that we're notice in history is noted on September 4th is the end, the kind of the official end of the Western Roman Empire. And the guy that takes over, one of the guys that takes over at the beginning of the end of the Western Roman Empire is a guy who's a barbarian Christian. And the type of Christianity that he's part of is this weird kind of Christianity that ends up dying out, called I think it's called an Acer Christian. Let me find this thing. Hold on, thing. But he's okay. God damn it! I can never find the things that I need when I need it. But he kind of like he was peaceful with the other types of Christians. Da, 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 da. Why is it killing me like this? Why are you doing this to me? Oh, he was an Arian, like an Orion Christian or an Arian. It's called Arianism. Is a Christological doctrine. It's called heretical. It's considered heretical by all modern mainstream branches of Christianity. What they believe is they believe in like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, but they don't believe that the Son came from the Father. They don't believe that Jesus came from God, right? They believe that Jesus like existed outside of time from God, like that he existed at the same time as God. They think that it's weird, like, and it's a reason that it's like considered heretical. You know what I mean? It's out there, but that's it. So the first thing that we notice about September 4th is the end of the Western Empire. The next thing that happens is in 626, Emperor, I'm not going to say his name because I'll slaughter it, assumes the throne over the Tang dynasty. Now, when I first read that, I thought that we had another end of a dynasty. I thought it was assumes the throne over the Tang dynasty. He was just next in line in the Tang dynasty. But this guy, Emperor Zhangzong of the Tang dynasty, is like considered like the first like shiznit guy of the Tang dynasty. Like he's like the be all end all, one of the be all end all emperors of China, and he like does like all these like amazing things. So he's like a supreme leader of Chinese emperors. The next thing we have 929, we have Slavic forces are defeated by a Saxon army near the fortified stronghold in Brandenburg. Then in 1260, you have fighting between different people. This is fighting in Italy between people who support the Holy Roman Empire and people who support the popes, between who can name bishops and who can name priests and who can name the pope. Of course, it all will come down and be decided at the Council of Worms later on. But this is, again, fighting and defeats of changing in governments. Peter III of Aragon becomes king of Sicily. Again, the ending of different rules. We have a treaty, the Catholic Monarchs of Castile and Aragon. This treaty splits up the Atlantic Ocean. They have a fight between, I guess it was between Portugal and someone else, and they had fights this. Now here's what's interesting. Here's another one that's interesting. The Flight of the Earls takes place in Ireland. Remember, on September 4th, 476, we have a historical event that notes in history the ending of the Western Roman Empire. In 1607, the Flight of the Earls takes place in Ireland. That is noted by historians as the end of the old Gaelic order and the beginning of the normalization and the entry of Ireland into, kind of modern European history. and being kind of totally taken over by, I guess, England or whatever. This is when the last of the, I guess it was Hugh O'Neill and the last of the earls of whatever, of the, old Irish Gaelic leaders were finally ousted, and they escaped over into, I guess they tried to hang out in Spain for a while, trying to raise an army to come back, but they never got it going. So Britain took over and turned the whole place Christian, and so that was the end of the old pagan Gaelic ways. So, as best as I understand it, remember, I'm going through these things kind of quick here, but you see another end of a historical epoch, and it takes place on September 4th. About what? Just about 59 years later, in 1666, make of that what you will, in London, England, the most destructive damage from the Great Fire occurs. Of course, the Great Fire didn't occur on just one day. It occurred over several days, like 3 days, but the Great Fire of London's greatest damage occurs on the 4th. Now, we're going to get a little bit esoteric for you. The use of the major firefighting technique of the time, the creation of fire breaks by means of removing structures in the fire's path, was critically delayed due to the indecisiveness of the Lord Mayor, Sir Thomas Bloodworth. DM Bloodworth, Dungeon Master Bloodworth, is a YouTube content creator who just recently did a long exposition of one of my TTRPG videos on his YouTube channel. Again, an esoteric connection. I don't know if he's named after the Thomas Bloodworth, but an esoteric connection. And again, we're here for me. You are listening to me, and I am just exploring connections. But again, who by fire? 1774, New Caledonia is first sighted by Europeans during the second voyage of Captain James Cook. New Caledonia is a very interesting place. It's near Australia. You should take a look at it. History: New Caledonia was part of the continent of Zealandia back in the day before it came off during this. But look, as trade in sandalwood declined, it was replaced by a new business enterprise, blackbirding. What's that? A euphemism for taking islanders from New Caledonia and other places into slavery, indentured, or forced labor in the sugarcane plantations in Fiji and Queensland by various methods of trickery and deception. This was a place that was discovered on September 4th that the first historical thing that it's noteworthy for is as a site where French and Australian people would kidnap mainly children to press into service as slaves in Fiji and Australia. Later on, those same islanders would participate on the side of the good guys in World War II. It's a very interesting history. I'm not going to go into it too much because we'll be here for 10,000 years. September 4th was also the day that Los Angeles was founded as El Pueblo de Nuestra Sonora La Reina de Los Angeles by 44 Spanish settlers. Well, let's look into that. This is really interesting because we all know how this is a connection to U.S. history, how certain people like to act about certain other people coming into America, right? Who actually founded California? Who actually founded Texas, right? Because let's think about U.S. history for a minute, right? Well, to say nothing of the first people that were here first, right? Because we all know that the first people that were here in America most certainly weren't Caucasian people who spoke English, right? But even the later people that first came to several places in America weren't white people who spoke English. The 22 adult settlers in the census were one Spaniard born in New Spain, 9 American Indians, one person of mixed Spanish and Indian heritage, one person of mixed Spanish and black ancestry, 2 people of full African ancestry, and one Spaniard born in Spain. Right? 11 families, 11 men, 11 women, 22 children of various. I forget, it was like this. It was like only 2 were white. Only 2 of those people were white. So, if you ever hear anyone in California, Los Angeles, complain about anyone of different ethnicity coming into their land, you just go ahead and remind them that it, it, it's it's not their land. But hey, we're just talking here. In 1797, there was a coup in France. Small deal. Not good. We don't have to get into everything. 1812, the siege of Fort Harrison began when the fort was set on fire. It was the first victory, I believe, by the United States. And remember, this is the War of 1812 was a fight between the United States and Britain, Great Britain. 1827, the Great Fire of Turku almost completely destroys Finland's former capital city. Remember, 1666, London burns. 1827, the Great Fire of Turku, Finland's former capital city burns on September 4th. Now, we just talked about, and I got on my liberal white bleeding heart soapbox. Hey, did you know, according to the 23andMe that my brother paid for, I am 50% Ashkenazi Jew, or as Cliff High would tell you, Khazarian Mafia. But in addition to that, I am also 8% African. Did you know that? I didn't until my brother told me. I'm also different percentages of different, conquistador, the Spanish, and all that other stuff. And I asked him for the specific other numbers, and he said I said, well, he said, well, it's this, that. He gave me like the brief load of the screen. He goes, I can't remember the actual. I said, oh, I want to see those extra other numbers. He said, well, no, I won't. He said, well, give me some of the money that I paid for 23andMe. I said, why can't you just get? He said, well, it was a lot of money. He said, a lot of money. Give me some of the money. And I said, why? He goes, 50% Ashkenazi Jew. See what I did there? I'm kidding. I'm joking. He wasn't. He's kidding. But not about the 8%. I was very impressed. My ex-wife, and my children immediately told me, because they can read my mind, probably what you can think you're reading my mind too. They immediately turned to me and they said, just because you're 8% African, don't get any ideas. Right? right? Start hanging out. It's okay, guys. That's cool. 8%. I'm good. 1839, the Battle of Kulon. British vessels opened fire on Chinese war junks, enforcing a food sales embargo on the British community in China in the first armed conflict of the First Opium War. Do you guys know about the First Opium War? Check it out. You know, you know, you got to know about the First Opium War. You really do. Let's go over it briefly. It's worth noting because I don't think people remember that the Queen of England, um, the English got rid of slavery before America did, granted, but that doesn't change the fact that much like an abused child can learn a lot of maladaptive behavior from a terrible, terrible parent. Before we became slave owners, America was formed by um, scumbag American colonialists, right? You know, they call it Great Britain, but this is not about British people. This is about you know the royal family and everyone who worked for them, the royals and their kings and their dukes and their earls and the knights and anyone associated with them. Then they are they're child rapists, slave owners, and drug dealers, and that's how they made their money. And it can't be denied by history. People talk about Prince Andrew, but it's all of them. You know what I mean? And the fact that England and Canada, the King of England is the King of Canada. It's in their constitution. He's got all sorts of like rights and powers and can do things with their laws and shit. It's fucking ridiculous. Okay? Canada's not a real fucking country. Canada is stupid. Mario, I love you. You're not stupid. Canadians aren't stupid. But if you start doing any research into the Canadian Constitution, and Canadians don't know, not no it's not that no Canadians know how their government works, but the vast majority of Canadians have no fucking idea what their government actually is, right? I'm going back to the live chat because Mario Heat's gonna have comments about that. China's still pissed about the, but yeah, no, and also here's the other thing, like when everything that China does and certain things, like people act like, how can certain people act like certain ways to certain people? Like what goes around comes around. Do you know what I mean? People remember shit. Do you know what I mean? And like that's why, like, what people don't realize is like why a lot of people who are really freaked out about things like white replacement theory and all this stuff is because they know that people know. People remember what people did to them. Okay. If you don't know that there are people in China who are chomping at the bit to take over or to like come to England and just go wild, you don't know history. You know what I mean? What goes around comes around. Amy Collins. I looked up who ultimately controls the Canadian equivalent of their Public Utilities Commission, Hydro, and it led up to the king. You know, there's part of me that wants to read that as like a joke, but folks, that's entirely plausible. I constantly make fun of conspiracy theorists who are like, if you read the formulation documents of the District of Columbia, it replaces the United States Constitution with a corporation. Ha ha ha. And do that. But like all joking aside, like once a year, once upon a time it was the Queen of England, but now it's King Charles. He comes over and he fucking like is allowed to like go into like it's just ridiculous. Anyway, you want to know that? Let's just look a little bit at the first Opium War. Because check this shit out. I'm just gonna read a little bit. Just read a little bit from the Wikipedia page. The First Opium War, also known as the Anglo-Chinese War, was a series of military engagements fought between the fair use, transformative war. We're just trying to barely educate ourselves after years of education by, America, Canada, and England, which, sucks. The immediate issue was the Chinese enforcement of their ban on the opium trade by seizing private opium stock from mainly British merchants at a place then named Canton and threatening to impose the death penalty for future offenders. Basically, British people were importing drugs into China, and China was like, you're selling drugs to our kids and it's killing us. Stop it. We're not going to let you sell drugs here. And England was like, no. We have to sell drugs here because it's our biggest export. So we're going to keep on doing it. So, despite the opium ban, the British government supported the merchants' demand for compensation for seized goods and insisted on the principles of free trade and equal diplomatic recognition with China. You have to let our guys sell drugs to your kids. Opium was Britain's single most profitable commodity trade of the 19th century. To them. After months of tensions between the two states, the Royal Navy launched an expedition in June 1840, which ultimately defeated the Chinese using technologically superior ships and weapons by August 1842. The British then imposed the Treaty of Nanking. Interesting how things always go down in Nanking. But karma's a bitch. Look at China today, but look at Japan today, look at Japan's economy today, and look at England's economy. Japan is so fucking terrified about what China's going to do to them because of all the years of what the Japanese Empire did to the Chinese people. Unbelievable. Which forced China to increase foreign trade, give compensation, and cede Hong Kong Island to the British. Consequently, the opium trade continued in China. 20th century nationalists considered 1839 the start of a century of humiliation, and many historians consider it the beginning of modern Chinese history. Great Britain are drug dealers. They always fucking have been. But listen, September 4th is going to lead us to many interesting things. 1862, American Civil War, Maryland campaign. Look at now, here's what's scary to me because I'm not making any grand predictions. But when I'm looking at this stuff, I say, if we're looking at history rhyming, I didn't like when I saw this. 1862, September 4th, American Civil War, Maryland campaign. General Robert E. Lee takes the Army of Northern Virginia and the war into the north. If we're looking for around the world, I'm celebrating the fact that the Ukraine went and took their war into Russia. Now, it's not at all similar historically as to what's going on there, but this Maryland campaign, it seemed exciting for a minute, but then they got their ass handed to them and they had to go back. 1870, Emperor Napoleon III of France is deposed and the Third Republic is declared. I'm running out of time, so I can't go into it full scale, but you should check out Napoleon III. He is an interesting person, to say the least. Napoleon, the Napoleon that you know, is his like uncle. But this guy was elected president, wanted to hold on to power a la Trump, held on to power for a while a la the way Trump wanted to, but was actually kind of good at it. But then, they got rid of him eventually. 1882, the Pearl Street Station in New York City becomes the first power plant to supply electricity to paying customers. 1886, the American Indian Wars. After almost 30 years of fighting, Apache leader Geronimo, with his remaining warriors, surrenders to General Nelson Miles in Arizona. September 4th, the defeat of Geronimo. Now, it was interesting for me today because in looking and doing the research today, if you go to the Wikipedia entry on Geronimo, it's actually heartening because you know that legend of the Geronimo's head skull being stolen by the Skull and Bones Society, the scumbag junior Freemasons or whatever. It turns out that's probably most likely not true, but we should look at who perpetrated, that stuff, because you could see what good people were involved in the legend. Because Geronimo was buried at Fort Sill in the Beef Creek Apache Cemetery. Alleged theft of Geronimo's skull. Six members of the Yale Secret Society Skull and Bones, including Prescott Bush. Prescott Sheldon Bush Sr. was an American banker and Republican Party politician. After working as a Wall Street executive investment banker, he represented Connecticut in the United States Senate from 1952 to 1963, yada, yada. Served as Army volunteers at Fort Sill during World War I. In 1986, former San Carlos Apache chairman Ned Anderson received an anonymous letter with a photograph and a copy of a logbook claiming that Skull and Bones held the skull of Geronimo. He met with Skull and Bones representatives about the rumor. The group's attorney, Endicott P. Davidson, denied that the group held the skull and said that the 1918 ledger saying otherwise was a hoax. The group offered Anderson a glass case like the one in the photograph containing what appeared to be the skull of a child, but Anderson refused it. In 2006, Mark Wortman discovered a 1918 letter from Skull and Bones member Winter Mead to F. Truby Davison. That guy is a weirdo, was an American World War I aviator, Assistant United States Secretary of War, Director of Personnel for the Central Intelligence Agency, and President of the American Museum of Natural History, that claimed the theft. The skull of the worthy Geronimo the Terrible, exhumed from its tomb at Fort Sill by your club, is now safe inside the tomb and boned together with his well-worn femurs, bit, and saddle horn. The second tomb refers to the building at Yale University's Skull and Bone Society. The revelation led Harlan Geronimo to write to President George W. Bush, the grandson of Prescott Bush, requesting his help in returning the remains. However, the implications of this letter are debatable. Meade was not at Fort Sill, so he couldn't have personally witnessed the robbery, and Cameron University history professor David H. Miller notes that Geronimo's grave was unmarked at the time. Anyway, they went into it, and it looks most likely that it's not Geronimo's skull that Skull and Bones Society has. It's just like a story that they tell. Anyway, going back to September 4th, Albanian rebels in 1912. Albanian rebels succeed in their revolt against the Ottomans. Now check this out. Remember I said there was an airship? 1923, maiden flight of the first U.S. airship, the USS Shenandoah. September 4th, Walter Bosley loves those airships. I'm Walter Bosley. Look at my hands. I'm going to talk to dark journalists. Oh, it's interesting when you think about it. What was that guy doing with Ramsey Clark at the OSS? It really makes you think as I sit here against a white backdrop with a photograph. The USS Shenandoah. Check this out. September 4th was its first flight. Dun, dun, dun. It was assembled at Naval Air Station in Lakehurst, New Jersey in 1922 to 1923. 23 Skidoo in hangar number 1, the only hangar large enough to accommodate the ship. Its parts were fabricated at the Naval Aircraft Factory in Philadelphia. Philadelphia experiment. Shenandoah. The design was based on captured Zeppelin bomber L-49. Now listen. Service history. Shenandoah made her maiden flight on the 4th of September, 1923. The airship was that's today, right? That was 101 years ago today. The airship was christened on the 10th of October, 1923. Walter Bosley's Nimzicon is taking place on October 13th. Shenandoah is a Native American word meaning daughter of stars. Check this out. Something else happens. Wait, hold on. The crash of the Shenandoah on the 2nd of September, 1925, right? So that's the 2nd of September. That's 2 days ago, but that's a year after. That's a year, like 2 years. Well, whatever. It flew first 2 years after, like just shy of 2 years after it first flew. It departs from Lakehurst on a promotional flight to the Midwest to visit state fairs. 14, but then something happens. On the morning of the 3rd of September, exactly a day before its 2-year anniversary, the Shenandoah was caught in a violent updraft that carried the ship beyond the pressure limits of its gas bags. The turbulence tore the airship apart, and it crashed in 3 main pieces near Caldwell, Ohio. 14 crew members, including Commander Zachary Lansdowne, were killed. Lansdowne and 8 crew members in the control car, except for Lieutenant Anderson, Mr. Anderson, who escaped, died when the car detached and fell from the airship. 2 men died after falling through holes in the hull, and 4 mechanics who fell with the engines were killed. There were 29 survivors who succeeded in riding the 3 sections of the airship to Earth. The largest group was 18 men who made it out of the stern after it rolled into a valley. 4 others survived the crash landing of the central section. The remaining 7 were in the bow section, which Commander, later Vice Admiral Charles E. Rosendahl, managed to navigate as a free balloon. In this group was Anderson, who, until he was roped in by the others, straddled the catwalk over a large hole. Told you there'd be an airship. World War II. William J. Murphy commands the First Royal Air Force attack on Germany. World War II. A German submarine makes the first attack of the war against the United States warship, the USS Greer. 1944, World War II. Finland exits for the war with the Soviet Union. Now check this out. This is great. Do you want to be on the right side of history or the wrong side of history? I would like to be on the right side of history. You know who's on the wrong side of history currently? I don't know. Certain people. I'm going to go to the live chat, check you guys out for a minute. Guys, this is gonna get. Want to talk Canadian? Want to talk Canada American? You know where to reach me. Meanwhile, stay in your lane of expertise. Mario Heat, true or false? The King of England is your king. My lane of Mario. True or false? The King of England has keys to the back door of your country. First of all, I don't trust anyone who's got a predator for their emoji, their avatar, buddy. Okay, your avatar is sus. Get me started. You read my mind, Bucky. USS Stephen Greer. How funny it would be if that ship saw the Tic Tac UFO. You read my mind. Here we go. Let's talk about the second concert in Peekskill, New York, 8 days after the Peekskill riots. What were the Peekskill riots? Oh, let's look at the Peekskill riots. Share this tab instead. Don't mind if I do. The Peekskill riots took place at Cortlandt Manor, New York in 1949. The catalyst for this rioting, also fair use, fair use, fair use. We're sharing this Wikipedia page because we love being communists. We love being communists. Dark Journalist did several interviews with that lovable cuddle bug. What was his name? Roger Stone. And you know who loves Putin? Dr. Joseph P. Farrell. Is he a wandering bishop? Man, to be a lover of Roger Stone. Or Putin. Or you could support people who are not involved with evil, like Paul Robeson and union workers and socialists. The Peekskill riots took place in Cortlandt Manor, New York in 1949. The catalyst for the rioting was an announced concert by black singer Paul Robeson, who was well known for his strong pro-trade union stance, civil rights activism, communist affiliations, and anti-colonialism. Yes, that's right, folks. There was a riot in Peekskill, not by civil rights activists, communists, and anti-colonialists, but by people who were against civil rights activists, communists, and anti-colonialists. If you were wondering if the Peekskill rioters were white dudes and white folk, you would be absolutely 100% correct. I wonder if they'd be Trump supporters today. My guess would be yes. I wonder what certain people that we know about, what their position would be. I'd be on the side of Paul Robeson. And not just because I like his soulful singing. Robeson had given 3 earlier concerts in Peekskill without incident, but in the years leading up to the riots, Robeson had been increasingly vocal against the Ku Klux Klan. Apparently, people didn't like that in Peekskill, New York. You might remember Peekskill, New York. If that name rings a bell, Peekskill, New York was the site of the famous fictional girls' school in that TV show with the chicks, with Joe and Blair. What was it? Was it The Facts of Life? Is that the show? Girls. Robeson, the Ku Klux Klan, and other forces of white supremacy, both domestically and internationally. Robeson specifically made a transformation from someone who was primarily a singer into a political persona who vocally supported what were, at the time, considered communist causes, including decolonialization of Africa, anti-Jim Crow legislation, and peace with the Soviet Union. Robeson had also appeared before the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Do you remember who was that? Extremely thin Eugenia Kumi, whatever girl name, type thin gal that used to be on Fox News all the time. The that lady. Who am I thinking of? I can't remember her name. She was like a huge Grateful Dead fan, just like Tucker Carlson. I can't remember her name. To oppose a bill that would require communists to register as foreign agents. And the reason I mention her is because Ann Coulter. She was a huge fan of this guy, McCarthy, who did the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Son of a bitch. To oppose a bill that required communists to register as foreign agents. And just months before the concert in 1949, he had appeared at the Soviet-sponsored World Peace Conference in Paris. How dare he? Referring to the growing tensions between the Americans and Soviets, he said, whatever, it doesn't matter. What comes in the wires, blah, 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 United States fought with colonial people, blah, blah. Later examination of Time Records showed the AP dispatched fabricated versions of wires as Robeson began speaking. Oh, my God. The riots were explicitly racist, with the rioters shouting racist terms for African Americans and Jews, burning crosses and lynching effigies of Robeson, both in Peekskill and other areas of the United States. The Joint Veterans Council of Peekskill refused to admit any involvement, describing its activities as protest parade, held without disorder, and perfectly disbanded. Peekskill police officials said the picnic grounds had been outside their jurisdiction. A state police spokesman said there had never been a request for state troopers. The commander of Peekskill Post 274 of the American Legion stated, "Our objective was to prevent the Paul Robeson concert, and I think our objective was reached." The fucking American Legion. Right? Good name of American veterans. Meetings to protest the first riot. Following a meeting of local citizens, union members, and Robeson supporters who formed the Westchester Committee for Law and Order, it unanimously was determined that Robeson should be invited back to perform at Peekskill. Who stood with Robeson? Representatives from various left-wing unions, the fur and leather workers, ironically, the longshoremen, and the United Electrical Workers, all agreed to converge and serve as a wall of defense around the concert grounds. 10 union men slept on the property of the Rosens, effectively guarding it. There you go. Abolitionists, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. I know I'm no longer sharing the screen. Doesn't really matter. Also, a couple of years later, in 1957, about just shy of 8 years later, September 4th, again, transitions in historical epochs. The governor of Arkansas calls out the National Guard to prevent African American students from enrolling in Little Rock Central High School, resulting in the lawsuit Cooper versus Aaron the following year. I'm not going to lie. I believe that he may have been, he might have been I'm just going to do the research because I'm not going to lie. He was, he might have been a Democrat. Don't want to lie. Where am I? I remember this guy, Fabus, whatever his name is. Sorry, apologize to the dead air. Don't apologize to the dead air. Where am I? Orville Fabus. He was a member of the Democratic Party. Let's be honest. Gotta call a spade a spade. No pun. Sorry. Orville Fabus. Remember, folks, the names, the party allegiances go back and forth. What matters is if the person is a jackass scumbag. Vietnam War, Operation Swift. 1970, Salvador Allende is elected president of Chile on September 4th. Of course, it wasn't to last. Why? Well, because the United States of America, much like its father, right, Great Britain, can't have people, especially people of certain different persuasions, deciding what they want to do by themselves. So, it was a coup d'etat. On 11th of September 1973, the military moved to oust Allende in a coup d'etat supported by the CIA. In 2000, the CIA admitted to its role in the 1970 kidnapping of General Rene Schneider, who had refused to use the army to stop Allende's inauguration. Declassified documents released in 2023 showed that U.S. President Richard Nixon, his National Secretary Advisor Henry Kissinger, and the United States government, which had branded Allende as a dangerous communist, were aware of the military's plans to overthrow Allende's democratically elected government in the days before the coup d'etat. And of course, who was replaced by? Pinochet, right? Oh, no. Yeah, he's replaced by Pinochet, who, of course, certain people on the bizarro right lionized, but of course was a use rape as a method of government enforcement. Bastard. Henry Kissinger can, burn in hell. And I know that there are certain things that I'm supposed to get upset with Donald Trump for putting out tweets about. I'm upset with him putting out tweets about that are sexist or whatever. But if I'm not going to be hoodwinked into being upset about him going after Hillary Clinton when Hillary Clinton called Kissinger one of her biggest mentors. And Kissinger is, I'm not going to split hairs about, ranking, where in hell certain people belong compared to certain other, committers, people, who've committed atrocities. Hillary Clinton's going to go to hell. Not because of anything that happened in the bottom of any sort of imaginary pizza parlor, but because of certain things that her and her husband did, and certainly because of carrying water and preventing the extradition to legitimate extradition of people like Henry Kissinger to military war tribunals who absolutely requested his presence to stand trial. 1971, an Alaska Airlines flight 1866 crashed. 1972, The Price is Right premiered on CBS. 1977, the Golden Dragon Massacre took place in San Francisco. It's a gang-related mass shooting that took place on September 4th, 1977, inside the Golden Dragon restaurant at 822 Washington Street in Chinatown, San Francisco, California, United States. The 5 perpetrators, members of the Joe Boys, a Chinese youth gang, were attempting to kill leaders of the Hua Cheng, a rival Chinatown gang. The attack left 5 people dead and 11 others injured, none of whom were gang members. 7 perpetrators who were later convicted and sentenced in connection with the murders. The massacre led to the establishment of the San Francisco Police Department's Asian Gang Task Force, credited with ending gang-related violence in Chinatown by 1983. Yeah, they ended that? Sure they did. Comedians Philip Proctor and Peter Bergman of the Firesign Theater were eating at the Golden Dragon during the shooting after performing a Proctor and Bergman show at the Great American Music Hall. When Bergman, an Army veteran, realized the perpetrators had emptied their weapons, he rose from cover in time to see their faces as they exited. He later testified in their conviction. Two off-duty armed police officers were also dining at the Golden Dragon during the attack. James Bonanno, a restaurant patrolman, dove for cover when the gunman entered. Wait, I want to see this Proctor and Bergman. Peter Bergman and Philip Proctor met while attending Yale University in the late 1950s, where Proctor studied acting and Bergman edited the Yale Comedy magazine. The Fireside Theater, they appeared in 1970s, give us a break. What? The Fireside Theater reunited again in 1979, but the change in American social and political climate marked by the election of President Ronald Reagan caused a cooling off of the theater's first wave of popularity. In the summer of 1990, producer Ted Bonet called Proctor and asked him if he wanted to contribute some comedy material to Bonet's nightly program Heat with John Hockenberry. Proctor called Bergman, and the duo agreed to write and perform a serial consisting of 13 5-minute episodes. Power Life on the Edge in LA. In 1993, 30-year nostalgia loop, 31 years. Give us a break. In 1993, the Fireside Theater reunited for a 10-city cross-country reunion tour and experienced a second wave of popularity. They produced 5 albums of new material and continued to perform live until Bergman's death on March 9th, 2012, from complications involving leukemia. In 1983, Mattel released 2 Intellivision video games with IntelliVoice. Bomb Squad with Proctor as the voice of Frank and Bergman as the voice of Boris. Interesting. Golden Dragon Massacre. Back to September 4th, ladies and gentlemen. I know I've lost everybody. If you're tuning out, you are thinning out, and we're getting down to the hardcore. The longer you stay in, the more exposure you are getting to the radiation. 1985, September 4th, 1985. The discovery of Buckminster fullerene, the first fullerene molecule of carbon. Folks, Buckminster fullerene is a type of fullerene with the formula C60. Folks, C60. Have you heard about it? Yes, you have. Hold on. Sorry about that. Necessary interruption. C60, right? You've heard about it. Isn't that the miracle thing that everybody's talking about? Not everyone's talking about it. Isn't that thing? That like you take it and you can grow hair like Alfred Lambermont Weber, right? Is that the stuff that they're talking? The Buckminster Fullerene. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Further used to see buckyball. Buckminster fullerene is a type of, what's a fullerene? A fullerene is an allotrope of carbon whose molecules consist of carbon atoms connected by single and double bonds so as to form a closed or partially closed mesh with fused rings of 5 or 7 atoms. Okay, and it looks like one of those jungle gym things on the thing. Made of 20 hexagons and 12 pentagons, resembles a football. Each of its 60 carbon atoms is bonded with its 3 neighbors. Buckminster fullerene is a black solid that dissolves in hydrocarbon solvents to produce a violet solution. The substance was discovered in 1985 and has received intense study, although few real-world applications have been found. Molecules of Buckminster fullerene, or fullerenes generally, are commonly nicknamed buckyballs. Occurrence. Buckminster fullerene is the most common naturally occurring fullerene. Small quantities of it can be found in soot. What's soot? Soot. Soot is a mass of impure carbon particles resulting from the incomplete combustion of hydrocarbons. It is more properly restricted to the product of gas-phase combustion process, but is commonly extended to include. That sounds bad, but it exists in space. Doesn't it seem like this Wikipedia page was written by someone who likes this shit? Theoretical predictions of Buckminster fullerene molecules appeared in the late 1960s and early 1970s, blah, 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 blah. Graphite. Ooh, Harold Chrono. The experimental evidence, 1989. Another paper. Etymology. The discoverers of the allotrope named the newfound molecule after American architect R. Buckminster Fuller, who designed many geodesic dome structures that look similar to C60 and who had died in 1983, the year before discovery. Another nickname for Buckminster fullerene is buckyballs. Synthesis. Soot is produced by laser ablation of graphite or pyrolysis of aromatic hydrocarbons. Fullerenes are extracted from the soot with organic solvents using what? That stuff. This step yields a solution containing up to... So these people that are taking this C60 shit, because the hippy dippies that you see, they're all taking the C60 stuff. You've seen the C60 stuff. You know who takes the C60 stuff? Is the whatchamacallit guy. Like Alfred Lambermont Weber is always having Laura Eisenhower and that other gal. Patty Greer is always saying to take the C60. And the who else was into C60 was Cliff High was into C60. But it's like you get C60 from soot. I don't want to take soot. I don't want to take stuff that comes from soot. Right? When you take stuff that comes from soot, it's like, how many times you do, like, this is like this thing. Like, you take the magic mushroom from your friend, and then the minute you take the magic mushrooms, and your friend is like, oh man, no, these magic mushrooms taste like shit, don't they? Yeah, they taste bad. And they're like, oh man, yeah, these magic mushrooms taste like shit, don't they? You go, yeah, we already talked about it. The magic mushrooms don't taste good, right? And they're like, you know why they taste like shit, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, I know why they taste like. Yeah, you know why they taste like shit, don't you? Because they grow them in shit, man. And yeah, we wash them, bro. They grow magic mushrooms in shit, though. Yeah, no, I get it, but they don't. They don't grow them in shit. But okay, and we wash them. But that's cool. You're not the first guy that fucking I'm 32 years old at this point, bro. You're not the first guy that I've taken shrooms with, man. It's cool though. But this stuff sounds like it's actually comes from soot. I don't care. You fucking put it through a labyrinth of fucking petri dish, smoke amounts, whatever before. So I don't care that it's a fucking, cool looking molecule into the thing. It's a fucking, will they dissolve in absinthe? Who cares, man? I don't care if it dissolves in absinthe. You know what I mean? Will this pile of fucking muddy water dissolve in absinthe? And will you then take it? I don't care. It started off as fucking ground glass and soot. I don't care what it dissolves in. You know what I mean? It's soot. I don't care. It would start off as a lead pencil. I don't take it. Yeah, Bucky. I remember Dr. Richard Allen Miller talking about buckyballs on a podcast. He sounded smart, so I got his book, and it was Nonsensical Ramblings. Dr. Richard Allen Miller, the last interview I saw with Dr. Richard, no, it's like 2 interviews ago, Dr. Richard Allen Miller, he had fallen on hard times. He was with Carrie Cassidy, and he had been like mugged in his apartment or some shit. He was in bad shape. He was no longer the confident dude. And like whatever like remote viewing capabilities his black magic powers had granted him, apparently they didn't grant him the ability to see the fucking, whoever fucking mugged him in his apartment. It was bad news. Yo, in 1989, Leipzig, East Germany, the first weekly demonstration of the legalization of opposition groups and democratic reforms took place. 1998, September 4th, Google is founded by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, 2 students at Stanford University. In 2022, 10 people are killed and 15 people are injured in a stabbing spree in 13 locations on the James Smith Cree Nation in Weldon, Saskatchewan. And of course, unfortunately, we also know that today what was this? There was another tragedy, another shooting. Hi. You know what I hate about the internet now is like I can't get non-video stuff. I can't just get text. Everything just wants to show me videos. I don't want videos. I don't want CNN. I just want an article. You know what I mean? Don't play me a fucking video. Just give me an article. At least 9 people were injured. Here's what else to know. A 14-year-old student opened fire at his Georgia high. A 14-year-old student opened fire at his Georgia high school on Wednesday, killing 2 students and 2 teachers before surrendering to school resource officers, according to authorities, who said the suspect would be charged with murder. Students barely a month into the new school year at Appalachia High in Winder, Georgia, described their terror as a lockdown that they initially thought was a drill turned out to be anything but. I'm reading from an article by Rick Rojas and Alessandro Marazzi Sassoon, reporting from Georgia at the New York Times. Of course, fair use, just spreading the news. The attack, which also injured 8 students and a teacher, stoked fear and anguish in Winder, a city of roughly 18,000 people in the exurbs of Atlanta, as the community grappled with the burst of violence that the local sheriff described as pure evil. Here's the latest. The suspect had been on the radar of law enforcement officials more than a year ago in connection with threats of a school shooting posted online. The FBI said he and his father were interviewed by local law enforcement officials. He had denied making the threats, but the authorities alerted local schools. Officials said the 14-year-old suspect, whom they identified as Colt Gray, would be prosecuted as an adult. The shooting was the deadliest episode of school violence in Georgia history and prompted an outpouring of sympathy. Okay. So, oh yeah, you know she's gonna say something amazingly off of. So, folks, 2 hours and 13 minutes. We're down to 10 viewers. Down to the hardcore. Streaming through the live chat. Oh yeah. Mucho easy to buy the views. Just going through. Going to where I think I was last in the live chat. I know it's been a while since I was tuned in. Pimp Bisquick, people already have the new player's handbook, 2 other core books still yet to come out. I don't know. I'm gonna wait. I'll probably be able to wait till Christmas for the new stuff. You know what I mean? I gotta be totally honest. I haven't even really scratched the surface of 5th edition yet. I have too much TTRPG material. I really owe it to myself to hold off. Pimp Bisquick, Marvel Jesus is the new movie that explains the memes I've been seeing. Deadpool is the new Marvel Jesus. Spoiler alert, I apologize. Charles Williamson, it's the 5th now here. Now I got to start on the 5th. Great, Charles, thanks. Okay, September 5th. Really, what I gotta get myself up to is we gotta do this stuff in advance. If you take a look at the description box below, I have a Patreon. To join my Patreon is literally just, you could do it for as little as $1 a month. You could do more than that, but folks, can you underwrite me here a little? Okay. Do you think it's just free to read Wikipedia to weirdos on the internet? Huh? This was 2 hours and 16 minutes of my time. If you were paying me California minimum wage, I should have made like $40. Do you think I made $40? No, because I've been demonetized. I have a PayPal. Everybody just wants something for nothing. Do you think I do this for my health? Do you think this is a net benefit to my health? It might be. I mean, I'm not, drinking or smoking, fullerenes. It kept me out of trouble a little, I guess, maybe, possibly. Where I lived 100 years ago, this was all Mexico. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's basically, it's all stolen land. Oh, half would have you. Speaking of Cliff High, no offense. I mean, I'm not, I do not celebrate the hardship of any person. But the Cliff High, but look, hey, news you can use. CW Chanter, news you can use. If you want, look, subscribe to my Patreon. I do videos there now where you do not even have to pay. I'm going to be doing more content there. Even if you didn't give me the dollar, you'll still be able to see stuff. But I'm not going to be doing all my videos over here or on the other YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing stuff, but it's going to be on Patreon. So it'll behoove you to sign up and join me on Patreon, even if you don't have the dollar a month to give. If you have the dollar a month to give, hey, remember, folks, $50,000 in unrecouped attorney's fees. Huh? And yet I smile. But it'd be easier to live with if I had more Patreon support. You know what I mean? Can you give me a break? Now, granted, some of you have been banned, and that might have been a little bit of an overreaction on my part. But then again, you were being a fucking asshole. You know? Why are you being an asshole? Like, why would you be an asshole to fucking me? Like, Bucky, like, honestly, like, fucking defend your position. You know what I mean? Like, it was a fucking shit move. Anyway, yeah, you're half. Oh, Bucky says that he's half native. It's maybe. Listen. Hey, I'm 8% African. I'm as surprised as you are. Do you know what I mean? I believe you me. I didn't see that coming. Oh, Phil Blair. You're only 1%. Kiss my ass. Right? You know what? Really explains a lot. Oh, but well, as I was saying, if you pay attention to his latest, if we play Cliff High's latest videos, his remember how he used to be like uber confident and like throwing his weight around and being like, you know what I mean? Hello humans, hello fellow humans, blah blah blah. His latest one, now look, his wife, apparently her health has taken a real downturn, and that's unfortunate. But it's clear that his mood has been affected. You know what I mean? He is not the person he once was. But then again, it makes sense because all these people, they can no longer look. It was one thing when it was like Donald Trump was just not in the White House. Remember, like it was like the early days of Joe Biden, having won the election and Donald Trump not being president of the United States, and it was like, oh, it's Joe Biden is broadcasting from a fake White House. That's not the Oval Office, and President Trump is still totally commander in chief. And it was like the first couple of months, and that was a couple of months in, and it was still this thing. But now we are like 16 days away from Donald Trump being sentenced, and Donald Trump is so clearly spiraling out of friggin' la la land, and it's so clearly obvious that his road to the White House, I mean, it was like a rope-a-dope, right? We were all like, after that first, there was a surge of confidence on the other side, because after that first, I don't think that it was, people were acting like he was sure to win the election after that first debate. I don't think that was the case at all. I think that there were many people in America that were absolutely totally willing to be like, we don't care if Joe Biden is in a casket. We're not going to vote for that guy again. But whatever, we don't have to have that debate because whatever. But now we are in this place in American history, and Donald Trump is most assuredly not going to be president of the United States ever again. He is going to be wearing orange. He has been indicted yet again. The Supreme Court cannot even save his ass, to say nothing of the fact that New York State, they are going to take all of his money. And for a guy like Donald Trump, I don't think that between we're going to throw you in jail or we're going to take all your money, he's the kind of guy that you could halfway imagine and be like, you want to throw me in jail? Just don't take the money, right? Now, I know that there are certain people out here, their capacity to imagine and believe the imaginary is absolutely 100% exceptional and, fantastical. But there are certain people that have absolutely pitched, hooked their dreams to a falling star. David Wilcock has said that the prophetic dreams predicted X, Y, and Z about Donald Trump. These people have said that, this whole QAnon thing, this whole MAGA thing, that the Alliance president, the Earth Alliance, it's Donald Trump, and the Earth Alliance is Donald Trump, Putin, and Xi, according to Gene Decode and all these people. Well, what are you going to do when Putin is assassinated eventually by his own people for fucking up? They love you until you fuck up. Read The Golden Bough by Fraser. You're allowed to do anything you want to do, but so goes the king, goes the world. And once you fuck up. Whether you call it Russia or you call it the USSR, the rules are the same. They get a new chairman. You know what I mean? And it's Presidente for life, but every life ends. Muammar Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein. Once upon a time, you're sitting up there going, this guy, take this guy out, this guy out, this guy out. And then all of a sudden it's you being pulled out of a spider hole, having a gun shoved up your ass. Taking the easy way out in the bunker with your old lady. Once admired by millions, soon to be admired by nutcases in obscure, gang affiliated, strange locations. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You backed the wrong horse. You lost. Radical changes. And Elon Musk, this September 4th messaging makes perfect sense to me. Old systems break down and change. And new systems get formed, and new things get discovered. And great leaders like Geronimo, that people passionately believe in, get caught out there and get caught. And there's some days where everything seems to happen. And today, pay attention to the news, there was this shooting, but in Donald Trump land, things happened as well. He was supposed to have this big thing, this big new festival. There was some big conference that was supposed to happen, but all of a sudden it had to get canceled. Same day that that got canceled, there was more indictments and a motion got decided against them. Different things happened. What does it all mean? I don't know. Ain't nothing but a Buckminster Fullerene. Canadians do make great maple syrup. Pictures of KKK in the local newspaper. Times change. Stop BlackRock. Good point. CIA cover ups. Driving to serve the king. There you go. Oh, Bucky, you guys know Shandy for Christ, the lolcow. She claims she's native and claims she's related to Pocahontas, and she thought Pocahontas married John Smith. Hysterical. Bucky also anyone current on the Cyrax lore. Oof, rough times for him. I haven't been. You know what? The last time that I was current on Cyrax lore was the time that this is how out of touch I am on Cyrax was when Marty got rented the Airbnb. Like two houses down and to the left, and then ended up knocking him out. Honestly. Sorry for the dead air. It's like Richard Hoagland had an interview with Roger Stone on the other side of midnight in 2016. I wonder if he knew Dr. If he knew Hogan's wife. Oh, if he knew Hogan's wife. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. We don't know. Yeah, but that is interesting, bedfellows. No pun intended. No pun intended. But 2016 was a little bit back in the day. Well, that's it. Actually, oh, it's interesting. It's topical. We'll see what happens with Roger Stone. Roger Stone is going to be. We'll see if Roger Stone ends up going the way of Steve Bannon. There you go. 2024 is the year when people's bullshit comes home to roost. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, Elon Musk. My prediction. I said things about Alex Jones that turned out to come right down the corner. Look. You read the news 2 steps ahead, you make a prediction. It's not that hard to do. Elon Musk is going to go from being the richest person in the world to being a very, very respectable member of the multimillionaire class in very, very short order. You're going to see it. And most likely, he may end up serving some time as well. The word on Wall Street, okay, folks, is Tesla to be the next Enron, okay? He's probably not going to walk away without serving time. It's going to take years for that all to come, boiling down. But if you think Grimes is going to stick around, I don't think so. Look for many, 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 many stories about divorce proceedings gone awry, and he's most definitely going to be. And if you think that X is going to survive, it's most definitely going to get its old name back before you know it. Whether or not it gets reshuffled. Also, the news with most people in the business worlds are thinking, as most people are talking about, is we are coming up on the next thing around the corner is not any sort of Web 3.0 or whatever. People that are measuring and talking about social trends and trends amongst the youth and trends, global trends, are people leaving social media, going back to the world because it can't survive. Ann Coulter is a childish cat lady. Cats wouldn't have her. Joe McCarthy was a jackass. I agree with Eleanor Roosevelt on this. There's good people on both sides. Of course there are, right? That's that was my opinions about the confrontation between the I don't want to get myself in trouble. I was about to make a joke, but we all know what the joke would have needed to entail, and it would need to entail two parties of evil people and me being misquoted. We say hello to Tim Frey. Hello. The facts of life. No Freemasons here. They wouldn't have us. Charles Williamson, don't get yourself in trouble. The right always says the Democrats started the KK. Of course, yeah, the Democrats started the KKK, and Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Yeah, well, okay, but that's over the course of many, 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 many decades, right? And of course, what are you going to do? Doesn't change the fact that today the words mean many, many, many different things. Charles Williamson, Lou Reed had dinner with Henry Kissinger. It is what it is, right? He also recorded an album with Metallica. There are many things I have to forgive Lou Reed for, right? Philip Blair. Biden just celebrated Henry Kissinger at the Democratic Party National Convention. He's the same Biden who told us Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. He's the same Joe Biden who helped Clarence Thomas get on the U.S. Supreme Court. Phil Blair. No one need ever forget my position on Joe Biden is a terrible, terrible human being who can burn in hell along with Henry Kissinger. I have never, ever said that I like Joe Biden. I hate Joe Biden. Okay? I would say more about my feelings about Joe Biden, but he's president of the United States of America. I'm on YouTube where I could get in potential trouble, right? And we could be monitored. He's president of the United States, and I don't want to end up on a watch list. Joe Biden is an absolutely reprehensible, horrible person. And guess who else is? Kamala Harris. I don't like any of these motherfuckers, right? I just don't want Donald Trump to win. I don't have any fucking heroes. If anyone is under the impression that I like Joe Biden or that I lionize Joe Biden in any way, shape, or form, I don't. I think all of these people should be exhumed from their, when they pass away, should be exhumed from their places of rest, resurrected, and myrtleized again. He's got blood on his hands for what he's done. I despise Joe Biden. I despise Joe Biden and speak about it all the fucking time. Put his eyes out. Oh, and by the way, that whenever they talk about, I bring up, Donald Trump actually being, an established, most likely there being strong evidentiary support for him being a pederast and a raper of 13-year-old girls because of the stuff that's come out through the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, doesn't mean that I don't think that that the stuff that they have with the photos of Joe Biden smelling the heads of kids is like completely fucking normalized. There's no photos of me going up and like smelling the heads of like fucking strange kids that are not my not my children. He's a fucking weirdo. He's burning fucking hell. And his son's a fucking weirdo, like the other one, the one that didn't, die honorably in combat or whatever. And guess who else can burn in fucking hell? John McCain. I don't give a shit that he fucking was a Vietnam vet and he fucking got captured. Guess what I think about a lot of fucking Vietnam vets? that they fucking raped gals in Vietnam. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit that because a person's like a veteran that they're some sort of fucking, all American here. I don't give a shit. You think that because you fucking got strung up and Shanghai and drafted into Vietnam that all of a sudden I think you're a fucking great person? I don't give a fuck. I'm not one of those fucking idiots. I'm one of those born on the 4th of July fucking morons who thinks they're fucking because you were involved in some sort of fucking combat situation that you're a fucking person in a fucking movie that I should feel ways about, like people in fucking movies. Give a goddamn. You save a kid or a kitten from a fucking tree and do something fucking heroic, I'll think you're a fucking, good guy or gal. And especially if you come back from being a veteran and do fucking shit ass things as a fucking, politician and stuff. You know what I mean? But then if you if Donald Trump talks crap about you because you're a vet, then I'll point out, Donald Trump talks shit about vets, I'll be like, well, that's shit. You don't talk shit about vets, but that doesn't mean that automatically every vet is a fucking hero. Like John McCain, died of, brain cancer and, probably suffered and had pain and all that shit because of it during it. You know what? I'm very familiar with John McCain's, political record and all that stuff. So I don't fucking shed tears over he was also a fucking, millionaire, made tons of money over his fucking involvement in all sorts of political deals and machinations. Do you think I fucking cry over the fact that he had, pain, during his fucking brain tumor and all that shit? No, I don't. Not at all. I mean, I don't wish him pain. I didn't wish him pain or anything, but I didn't cry for him at all, You know what I mean? Another rich white dude fucking died. Experiencing a lot less pain than a lot of people, experience because he had healthcare and insurance benefits that he helped make sure that other people didn't have. He did good things. He did a lot of shitty things. You know who else died that I didn't give two fucks about, even though ethnically I'm closely related to him? Joe Lieberman. Fuck that Jew, right? As a Jew, fuck him, right? Fuck him. Like that. I also don't give a fuck that what's his face. Who's the guy? The guy in the fucking Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking was all fucked up in that chair, but he was fucking smart. I don't care. I don't know the guy. I didn't know the guy. You know what I mean? People are fucked up all over the place. I'm not wishing upon them, but it is what it is. There's no one, Bucky. There's no one way to be evil. Even a broken clock like Trump is occasionally correct. No. First of all, the great thing about Donald Trump is that you actually might be wrong. I don't think Donald Trump is ever. I mean, you can say 1 + 1 = 2. He's occasionally correct. There's no one way to be evil, and even a broken clock like Trump is occasionally correct. Yeah, 1 + 1 = 2. He might not even be able to get that right. Jimmy Carter and Desmond Tutu were right occasionally. Desmond Tutu, look, we're not Philip Blair. I love you, but you know that we're not on the same page as far as a lot of people are concerned. Jimmy Carter fucked up a lot of different shit, and Desmond Tutu fucked up shit too. You know what I mean? First of all, Desmond Tutu, you know what I mean? Desmond Tutu is like, what is he? I forget, was he Episcopalian or Christian or Catholic or whatever? It is what it is. We don't need to get into a fight. We do not need to get into a fight. I don't get into a fight with people. Right, Stephen Hawking in a chair? Fuck that guy! Like, why the fuck did I go there with that? I don't know how that happened. Yeah, and that little guy, Hervé Villachez? What, I'm supposed to feel bad for a guy? And what happened to that other guy? Oh, little kid fell down. Oh, what happened to that guy? Oh, this little kid, he fell down. Now he's paralyzed from the neck down. And I'm supposed to feel bad for the guy? Shit happens. That I'm making fun of and what am I making a point about? What I apologize to the ghost of Stephen Hawking. Okay, I'm sorry you caught some sort of fucking disorder and whatever. But did he go to Epstein Island? Fuck that guy. What were the shrooms like at 32? Your first? I literally said they weren't my first, Philip Blair. I'm not going to go off on you because, look, it is what it is. I don't know. I wasn't 30. I probably wasn't 32. I mean, I'm just giving, it was an example story. It wasn't like a literal story. Ask if you can get monetized. Person blue speaking microphone. Can I get monetized? No, I probably could get remonetized. I got to check. It's been a minute. I'm probably not going to get, here we go. I'm probably not going to get the new books. I've still never ran the game. I have 31 official WotC books and 21 third-party products. I'm going to focus on other games now, if at all. There you go. Banned from Patreon? Don't even ask. Remember Obama versus Trump? Absolutely. Now he's trying to start it with what's-her-face, with Kamala. Phil Blair, I don't understand why David Wilcock does all the weird prophecy stuff. He's got to do something. Tim Frey, I would never hope Donnie dies in prison when it comes. I hope for compassionate release for everyone. Yeah, it is what it is. PTSD for the old Trumpster, bless his heart. Listen, you know what I mean? No one should. I hope everyone lives forever. Happy Halloween, by the way, now that we're in September. When did I fucking die? And Halloween is in September. Halloween is on October 31st. Halloween season is October 1st through October 31st. Okay? This notion that we start the Halloween season in September is insanity. But of course, I see douchebags trying to start Halloween in like August. Meanwhile, okay, there are people like every day is Halloween. You have people that, try to start Halloween in friggin', July. I don't know. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Christopher Hitchens on Henry Kissinger is awesome. Jerry Cthulhu. You are correct, sir. Here we go. The Marty fight. Oh my God. Yeah, that's how out of date I am. But then again, every time I try to get back into the lore, it's like a repeat. They're like, he's talking to kids again. I'm like, again? I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Phil Blair. My grandpa told us that being in a combat zone doesn't make someone a hero, but it's very traumatizing. Well, he was at the Battle of the Bulge, had to sleep with Luftwaffe bombs falling all around. Listen, you're a hero if you can sleep through that, I guess. John McCain was less bad than some. But that's the thing. It's like you're less bad than some. You're less bad than some. But at the same time that he was less bad than some, he's the guy that brought Sarah Palin onto the world stage. And Sarah Palin being brought onto the world stage helped usher in this whole TV madness, reality TV show maddening of Republican politics. You can nice guy your way into helping the world burn. And you don't get a pass for that. There's a whole bunch of Republicans now, like Pence, that we're supposed to act like, look, Pence is not endorsing Trump. And we're supposed to act like, look at Pence, not endorsing Trump. Look at Pence's record. he's still a theological madman whose own attempts to be president himself was, clearly understandable as basically a Christian, equivalent of the fucking Taliban. And despite his, great, you didn't commit the same insanity jump off the plank that Rudy Giuliani threw his life away on and fucking Mike Lindell threw his life away on, when you could clearly see that this shit was going atomic. You did so at the last minute. But up until that point, you were on board with this whole Trump insanity. And the things that I'm saying about that way, about the Republicans, like John McCain, I'll say about people like Joe Biden. I'll say about guys like Barack Obama. I'll say about people like John Kerry. Speaking about Vietnam vets. All these millionaire motherfuckers could catch one between the eyes, and I would give two fucks. And we know none of them, and none of these guys are good people. As far as I've never seen a politician the things you have to do, the amount of bullshit that you have to live, breathe, and suck and dream and survive through to become a successful politician in America. It's like being a dancer. It's like being an exotic dancer. They call everyone honey. You know what I mean? You don't fall in love. You know what I mean? Tim Frey. There's one overwhelming reason to have a woman of color as the next U.S. president, then some white chick eventually wins. They can't make such a big deal about it. Whoa. He was Anglican. Okay. There you go. There you go. Here we go. Anglican. See, I don't want to start fights with people, but a lot of this thing, it's like, look, he was an Anglican. Okay, check this out. The Anglican Church. It's fucking moronic. If you know the history of the Anglican Church, and you're a member of the Anglican Church, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. You know John McCain personally? You know John McCain personally. If he's your mom's neighbor, he's your mom's neighbor. We're not getting into a fight about Halloween. You want to start Halloween in September? You start Halloween in September. There you go. Mike Pence. I was reading an escort's auto bio. She said she tells everyone she had a great time unless she never wants to see him again. But you always listen. You don't want to alienate your customer base. Listen, I've clearly offended a lot of people, but I've offended people at the 2 hour. The secret is, folks, is that you start saying the controversial, crazy shit at about the 2.5 hour. The great thing is this: is that according to the YouTubers who know, you're not supposed to make any YouTube video longer than 20 minutes because no one listens past 20 minutes. That's a good quote. Phil Blair, religion is like a knife. You can use it to either cut bread or stick in someone's back. Well, that shows you the limited imagination of Desmond Tutu. You can juggle a knife, okay? Cut bread. So many different things you can cut. Use his little tiny mustache like this. My mustache gets in the way. But you know what I'm saying? That's a joke. Like the Anglican Church. Now, Lutheranism, listen, folks, I'm a Commonwealth chanter, a religion I made up myself, right? Hey, that's stupid. You know what else is stupid? Every form of denominational Christianity. You know what else is stupid? Islam. You know what else is stupid? Buddhism. Judaism? Idiocy. All forms of organized practice of humanity. Listen, folks, everything is made up. And nothing is worth caring about except being good. Okay? Read a spiritual text every day. Not because all the words are correct, but all the words are words that people thought were important. And learning about what people thought were important will inform you and help you make decisions about what people think. It will help you think about what you think. And chant every day. Because everyone needs to tune out and meditate. It's sometimes difficult, but chanting is a very, very easy way to do it. And you should listen to me. Why should I tell you that you should listen to me? Because why should I advocate for anyone else but myself? Everyone is going to advertise for themselves and advocate for themselves, so I'm going to advocate for me. Listen. Because you already are. For all you know, the people that say that everything's happening for reasons and everything happens for a reason are correct. And you're listening to me now tell you that you continue to listen to me. Stay on the vibration. You are what you eat, from your head down to your feet and vice versa. Everyone tunes into something. So tune in to this. And remember that there's other people tuned into this as well. So we'll be tuned into this together. And if and when it be the case that when we die, that what we were tuned into informs what happens next, then we'll have a collective basis to be together on the other side. Or If it be the case, and we all just split apart into many, many molecules and nothing happens, then we'll be no worse off. Four cards from the Egyptian Tarot from 2003. 23 Skidoo. First card up, 9 of Wands. Got a lot of glare of this bad boy. Nine of Wands. Having weathered the storm, we stand on the hill, survivors. On the lookout, prepared, knowing that we have what it takes. We have learned lessons, and though we've been through a lot, we are not done, nor are we finished. We can take a moment to rest and recuperate. And understand that though we may feel beaten upon, we know we have what it takes. Next card up. 8 of Swords. Ooh, excuse me. The eternal energy of the swords. Swords is the suit of the mind. The mind is both a blessing and a curse. Our consciousness, our awareness, both a blessing and a curse, because that which allows us to think also allows us to be aware of our own mortality and the possibilities of all the things that can go wrong. Whenever I see the 8s, we can see the infinity symbol on its axis. Here we have 5 swords up, like the symbol of man, and underneath these 3 swords holding down this primordial crocodile, like a symbol of the base spirit of a person. There's a primal divine energy inside of us that drives our thinking and our methodologies and our ability to express ourselves is an aspect of ourselves as well. But we need to know that we need to be able to regulate ourselves, our thoughts. It's not easy because the mind is constantly in motion. Even when we sleep, we dream. This is where meditation can come in. Because even in this constant whirlpool of thoughts, we must find a space, like a boat on the ocean, to find a space to find peace. the next card. We find a trump card, the sun. Sunlight is the cleanser. Sunlight, the sun, the breaking of the sun is like the new day. We were talking about September 4th, and we were talking about fire and changes of political paradigms and the endings and the beginnings of new historical epochs. So too can be the beginning of a new day, promising that new things can start. We can always have a new beginning, and that there will inevitably be a new beginning. So when we find ourselves in times of struggle or in times of disorder, we can know that we can wait, and there will be a change and a transformation. Our final card, the Five of Chalices, Five of Cups. Five is the number of people. A head, two arms, two legs. Fire, earth, water, air, soul. The final element, the fifth element. Golden Coin 100 coming in at the end. Time becomes a loop. Five of Cups. Emotions. Human emotions. They can be a blessing too. They can be a curse. Always subject to change, always subject to transformation. We can be happy, we can be sad, but we always have them. And even in sadness, we should be happy for our sadness, because our sadness can be a tool and a key for us to be empathetic and sympathetic, to feel for others and to understand others. And even if we're in pain or we're feeling pain, we can also know by that feeling of pain that we're alive, that we're still vital, that we're still feeling. And even if we're feeling pain and loss, there's still a possibility that we can feel fulfillment, possibly, yet again, or come to understand a Buddhist-like lesson about the inevitability of loss, and then come to acceptance and therefore free ourselves from this cycle of dealing with this pain. Nine of Wands, Eight of Swords, the Sun, Five of Cups. Having gone through them individually, let me try to take a swing at what they may mean for us in context of this grand 3-hour meta-narrative of September 4th. I got nothing. This is I've got fucking nothing. What the hell? Nine of wands, eight of swords, the sun in the third place position. If it was at the end, maybe, and then five of cups. I suck at this. I thought at one point that I could be a tarot card reader, but this is madness. No, hold on. I can bullshit you. I'll just make something up. This is what it means. I got it. Well, the nine of wands is we're talking about September 4th, right? You know what I mean? So it's like nine, it's 9 months to create nine is a sacred number, right? And you get the 9 months to create a little baby. And wands is the great primordial creative energy and force that comes out through everything. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? There you go. So that's powerful right there. It's reminding us that like it's the universe winking at us because it's saying like, oh, September, and here you go. Here's the nine card. It's nine of the wands, and you're creating something. We're creating frisson together in magical force, and the that nine wands, nine of wands. That's what that means because we've been through it, and you know what I mean. We're going through it, and there's and then the people had to fly out, of Ireland. There's changing things, and that one guy was, to the end of the medieval times, start of the medieval times after the Roman Empire, whatever fell, and all that jazz, and London caught on fire. There we go, and the things and the don't sell opium to us because we're Chinese. The nine of wands, you get it, right? There you go. And then the eternal, the using our brain like I'm doing right now, because you always got to be thinking about how to make things work and make everything work, because the change and the transformation that we see in the historical record is also affected and happens because of people, because it's not just the primal force of the universe, because we are products of the universe, because there's the primal energy forces in the universe organically, like the sacred beetle, that we see in the nine of wands here, that little that magical Egyptian beetle, the dung beetle, that's symbolic of life, because it's also the dung beetle that comes there and makes it there, because it's also, it comes out of death, but out of the shit, the little baby beetle comes out. That's why the Egyptians believed in that thing as a sacred thing. That happened. And then it's also then our powers as humans. We take that primal force of energy in the universe, right? And then we use our powers of the brain. Wait, this one, and that comes next, and we use that power, our power of the brain, to make sense of it and to work with it. So then that makes human history, because it's nature, and then we're part of nature, and then our brain power, our intelligence is. I gotta go like this way, because it's like a mirror, but like this, reverse way, but closer to you, kind of like that, and then because you can't see, and then and so then we're part and parcel of the universe, but we're like the conscious part of it. So we're like the brain of God, and we make things happen in concert together. Okay, and then the sun happens because then the sun happens because then all of that stuff comes together, and then it creates this beautiful frisson, because we become aware of it, like I'm doing right now. See, it all comes together, and then by taking a look at it and bringing it all together, we then create the revelation of the sun, bringing it all together into one big magical insight, transforming that fire of London and the fire of burning Turku and all that stuff, and we bring it all together and make a fusion of the sun, making it all happen, become like one with God, man, right? Okay. And then when we do that, check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Look at that. Look at that. then we all come together, man. Our emotions, right? We all fuse together, and then we're all happy. See? Oh no, wait, over here. Go over here. The lady, the sun, and then after the sun, then like here comes the rain again. We're all human emotions, like in the eye of Ra. We're all blue emotional human cups. Yeah. Because over here with our the 8 of swords, our brains were all like fucked up about the human affairs and events and and things. But now we all get it because of the sun, because we all get it now because we're all meditating upon it and becoming one. Like I said, we all tune into the same energy, man. And then we all become one. Now we're all one in our emotions, man. We all feel good. See? You see? Fuck yeah. And the magic machine tells me that 9 people are watching me live now, right? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Blessings. There you go. Scarab Beetles wants you to follow the one true Book of the Dead, CW and Cal. There you go. The one, yeah, the one you. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna channel. Which channel? What should I channel? What should I channel? Ivan Teller style. Whatever you want me to channel, Ivan Teller style, I'll channel. Booyah Kasha. I don't know who that is. Name me someone I know, and I'll channel it Ivan Teller style. That doesn't work. I probably should end on the cards. I probably shouldn't push my luck with the teller. Meanwhile, check out Ivan Teller. We did it on the Patreon. It's true. Ivan Teller is looking rugged, good, rough. I'm not saying that he's on anything, but if he is, he's at that crucial phase when you first start doing something where you first start Robert De Niro. No, it's got to be. I don't want to channel anyone. You can't channel anyone. It's got to be like some sort of like spirit of the, like he did things. He did the vulture people. I have to let it. Hold on. Wait. Here, I'll channel the number one dad sign. Okay. No. I can't. I don't channel the dad. I'm going to channel the number one dad sign as Ivan Teller. Okay. No, you can't channel anyone dead. You can't channel people. You have to channel people like the vulture. I'm going to channel the number one dad sign as Ivan Teller. Okay. That's what we're doing. Okay. I'm channeling the number one dad sign. Okay. Here we go. And scene. I have to turn off the lights. Okay. Because we're doing it modern Ivan Teller style. Don't fall in love with. Here we go. No, wait, it did reverse. It turned on the lights. Wait. Now I got to do my lighting. Hold on. Set the scene. Got to do it like full on. I'm gonna do it full on. Hold on. Wait. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Oh, wait. Let me go. Oh wait. I'm gonna show you. They'll get freaked out by my. Hold on. Wait. Here we go. This is my avatar is is in honor of is a special avatar for my special request for Mario Heat. Mario Heat loves this avatar. I gotta blow my shofar to make such a scene. Hold on. Greetings and blessings. So tonight we're gonna give the Anunnaki a break. Greetings, blessings. Tonight we're gonna come through. I was gonna do before I was gonna channel. I didn't know who was gonna channel. I thought maybe we were gonna talk to the. First, I thought we were gonna talk to the Anunnaki again, but the Anunnaki. It's hard to played out. Who cares what they say? It's shadow band anyway, so no one really cares. So thought about we're gonna channel Draconians, but let's talk to them again. They come through. This was it finally. So channel the Terminator people and some thought. So finally, we see them come through. We're gonna do. We'll see if this works. We're gonna channel the number one dad sign. So start off with. See, we're gonna. We don't even know if. So we see all the links, the ivanteller.com, Data Special Human website, live chat, social media, shadow band, YouTube, as long as that lasts, Rumble, not Twitter. Go over there. So, anyway, here we go. Blessings. Greetings. Here we are from the neutral zone, what you may know as the space between the understanding of where maybe some of you may have understood, maybe not so clearly, of what the former people of your Atlanteans and Hyperboreans and people from universes of places anyway understood coming through. Now we tell you coming to you now to tell you what we special message for you to hear once again, to understand what you already knew or may have already known, forgotten, but what you can hear again if you want to listen to it. Maybe you don't want to listen to it. Maybe you should listen to it, but we're going to tell you anyway because you were already here to listen to it. That's why you're here, to the why you come to use the number one dad sign, or what you understand to be the number one dad sign, present the number one dad sign, or what you could be, why we're here, why you see us, why you give it to you, as what you may have received as a number one dad sign, why everyone is. It's not just a thing that you get on Father's Day. You may have given us Father's Day. You may not have understood it or why you gave it. It may not even be important. You might throw it away. If you threw it away, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to feel bad about it because still it's there. Even if it's in the garbage, you can still think about it and it can still come back to you and be, you don't have to be a father. Donald Trump's a father. And, in this timeline or maybe another timeline, George Washington was a father. And God's a father, and even if even if you're a woman, you can be a father. And it doesn't make much sense, but because you were a father in another lifetime, even as a woman, because in different places, different people can be different fathers, and that's why you are still, even if you were feeling like you were a bad father or a person was a bad father and they got the number one dad sign, or you rejected the number one dad sign and you took away the number one dad sign, that is okay because it's still part of the reason that you were here to learn that lesson, for maybe to understand why it came through in the first place. So there's that. Maybe you understood that, or you'll understand it someday, or you're still working through it, but it's all part of your cosmic healing and the healing that's taking place here and the craziness of everything that's going on in this timeline with the elections and everything and the stealing of the elections, but will still be the number one dad sign for when you're ready to receive it. Blessings. I love you. I love you. I love you. If nobody told you they loved you today, somebody just did. And that somebody is the number one dad sign. Peace! I guess I'll see you next lifetime.